thank you so much for bringing this very, very critical hearing forward today. I think it's, as the chairwoman said, nothing could be more important these days than trying to go beyond the prayers and thoughts into real action. And I would hope that this hearing will result in some proposals that we can put forward before the Congress. Because here we are once again to discuss gun violence, an issue that has devastated our community and our nation, our families, too frequently for just far too long. And as we have covered here today, it is important that we consider long-term impacts of mass shootings as the initial shock and outrage fades from the public domain. My home state of Texas is tragically no stranger to such despicable acts of violence, as we most recently saw in Uvalde. The tragedy in Uvalde is an unthinkable one, but we may not let it fade to an unspeakable one. We will continue to fight for justice and for the entire community impacted, and I'm glad that today we can take time to consider the long-term impacts to the surrounding area. In Texas alone, Mr. Chairman, and it's your home state as well as mine, the annual cost of widespread gun violence, both for the safety of our constituents and for their economic success. I know the chairwoman mentioned the shooter in Uvalde, and Mr. Chairman, I've read the Texas House Committee report over the weekend, and it found that there was no legal impediment to the attacker buying 2 AR-15 style rifles, 60 magazines, and over 2,000 rounds of ammunition when he turned 18, most of which he did online in preparation when he was still 17, online. And as she said, some of these platforms are allowing installment sales. And the real question that I have on my mind is, where did he get all that money? Because I totaled up what he bought, and it was something around $5,000. So, Mr. Byrd, it's is it Brodeur? Can you shed some light on how financial technology companies could actually assist, or what we could do to help us assist us in preventing illegal firearm activity? Oh, that's why we have you as an expert. Yeah. And the rest of the panel, if anybody wants to help.
Yes. It's not an easy question. I mean, if you look at the characteristics of perpetrators of mass shootings, many of them are in poverty, unemployed. Some that are really surprised to hear about the characteristics, socioeconomic characteristics of this specific shooter. If we're trying to use technology to try to make it harder to buy guns, or I'm not entirely sure it's going to be feasible, or that there's easy ways to make it harder to buy guns without legislation, to be honest.
Well, should it be so easy to just go online? I mean, he was 17 years old, and in the AR-15 rifle and some of the bullets and things, one was $2,054. Another purchase that he made was $1,081.42. I mean, why is it so easy to just go online?
Well, all the information about previous shootings are online. Strategies used in previous shootings are online. It's quite easy to get a credit card in this country, much easier than other countries, to be honest. Someone can get credit easily and buy things online. It's unclear whether parents really look at what is bought by teenagers, adolescents. We're talking about usually perpetrators are very young, maybe 21 years old on average, depending on how we define a mass shooting. These people are looking mostly for attention. They're on different networks. For instance, my research, I look at networks of neo-Nazis and how they join different networks online, how the information is shared. It's so easy to get that information. I mean, what you can try to do is try to limit these networks, limit how people access information online, but in terms of limiting what can be bought online without limiting credit or how easy it is to take your parents' credit card, I just don't see it, to be honest.
All right,
I don't
thank
see
you.
an easy way.
Mr. Chairman, I'm out of time, but I do have some questions if there is a second round.
The gentlelady's time has expired. The gentleman